Hi everyone, it's Emily. Welcome to my channel. I am going to do a tutorial today and show you how to do a chain, which you need for your foundation, and then we're going to do a single crochet, and that way you can practice having control of your yarn and maybe make a dishcloth with 100% cotton, or I'm just using some lavender yarn, which is Red Heart. And maybe you can make yourself a scarf, and that would give you some good practice so that you can get a feel of using the needle, holding the needle, and how you want to take care of your tension. But I'm going to show you how I do it. So my slip knot, what I'm doing is basically taking my yarn and taking the end here, and I'm going to tie it in a knot over this. So I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to go over my yarn and bring it up, and then I just tie a knot. Tight, tight, and you can see that it moves, which is really great. That's what I want. So I want to put it on here, and it's not very tight. Today I'm going to use the 5.5. How I use my yarn is I take my yarn and drape it over my fingers and bring it up over my index finger. I close my pinky and my ring finger, and then I take my thumb and my forefinger, or my middle finger and my thumb, and I hold this yarn. So let's do that again. I take my yarn and I basically just put it over my palm and bring it in between my index finger and my middle finger, and then I close my pinky and my ring finger, okay, and then I lift up my yarn and bring it over my forefinger, and this is what I get. Okay, kind of kooky. And then I take my middle finger and my thumb and I hold the bottom of this yarn. I will do this through the whole time I'm crocheting because I like to have control of my yarn. I don't know why. And then I have this finger who likes to always rub or move this. That's just me. So I'm going to try not to have my fingers all in the way, just to let you know that this is how I do it. And I find that this is really nice because it helps me use the tension. Okay, so I'm going to hold this bottom here, and we're going to start a chain, and we don't want this to be too tight ever because we got to continually take the crochet hook through this. So I think it helps with my fingers here to keep this from being too tight. You don't want to keep pulling and making this tight right here with this finger. Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit here so you can see more of what I'm doing. So to do a chain, I like to just go on the yarn. You get it with your hook, turn your hook a little bit, and pull it through. You can see that I'm not like pulling this yarn to make it tight. I'm going to leave it loose. I'm going to move my finger up here so I have more control. I'm going to grab my yarn on the hook, turn the hook a little bit, and pull it through. Okay, just going to keep doing that. Grab your yarn and pull it through. I move my fingers up so you can see that I have control over my yarn. It makes it easier for me when you're doing this because that way I'm not like pulling and it's all kooky. Move your finger up and hold it. And see, I can control my yarn pretty well this way with it wrapped around my finger and these two fingers holding the tension. I've been crocheting for many years, so I don't know if this is going to give anybody else finger cramps, okay? So I can control my yarn pretty well. So I'm going to grab my yarn, I'm going to turn it in a little bit, and bring it through. All right, and the more you do it, the more you're going to find your niche. Move my fingers up. I'm going to take the needle, I'm going to get that yarn, and I'm going to bring it through. Okay. Again, move my fingers up. I'm going to grab that yarn and bring it through. When I bring it through, you can see, I can pull it as high as I want. I can tighten it a little bit. But when I do bring it through, I want to make sure that it's pretty loose because I'm going to have to go back in that stitch. Okay. So you can see that it's grabbing it and bringing it through. Grabbing it and bringing it through. Isn't that pretty? And the first time you do it, it might not come out perfect. You might have some that are looser than others. That's okay. You can practice doing this. You can take a skein of yarn and just do the whole skein until you're pretty confident that you have the way you want to hold your crochet hook. So we're going to do it again. Just grab your yarn and bring it through. Grab your yarn and bring it through. And every time you do that, you're making a chain. Okay? So when you see a pattern that says chain this many, that's how many you're going to do. And when you count them, you look at them and you go 1, 2, 3. So there's some on here, okay? So if you were to do a whole skein and you wanted to take it apart, you just stop and you pull it. You make a mistake, you just stop and pull it, okay? Now, so now make sure that you do this and that you're comfortable, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to do a single crochet. So after you get pretty confident doing this, could take you a day, an hour, couple of days. Everybody's different, okay? I'm obsessed with crocheting, so I'm constantly crocheting all the time. So I have my chain. You can see here that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll want to count your stitches so that you know how many you're starting with, so that you want to stop and periodically count them to make sure. You can count them at the end of every row to make sure you're not losing stitches. So we're going to do a single crochet. So we're not counting this one that we're in. We're going to start here. We're going to go 1, 2, and we're going to go in there. Okay? And once you go in there, you can see that we went in there and we only have one loop on here. Okay. You're going to grab your yarn and pull it through just like you did when you were chaining. Now you have 2 loops. Grab your yarn and bring it through both loops. You just did your first single crochet. A single crochet abbreviation is SC. So when you start doing patterns, you'll see SC for a single crochet. We're going to go into the very next stitch, and you can see that there's only one strand on here. Okay, we're going to grab our yarn and bring it through. Now we have 2 loops on here. Grab the yarn and bring it through both. You only have one left, you know you're done. Okay, so we're going to go into the very next stitch here. Go right inside, grab our yarn, pull it through, have 2 loops on there, grab your yarn, pull it through 2 loops. Isn't that nice? This will work up really fast. So we're going to go into the next stitch right here. Okay, put your needle in there and grab your yarn and pull it through. You have 2 loops, grab your yarn and pull it through. You did a single crochet. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way across. So you can see here I have 2 loops left, 2 stitches. I'm going to go on this one. It's very important you make sure you always get the last stitch, because if you don't, your project is going to start leaning and it's going to look like it's coming to a point. So I have my last stitch here. Do my single crochet. There we go. Now we're gonna chain 2. So when you have a single crochet, you chain 2. If I was doing a double crochet, I'd do 3. And sometimes people count this as a stitch, and sometimes they do not. It all depends on the pattern. So we're not going to go into this first one. We're going to go into the second one. Okay, you can see that you crocheted 2 for right here, so we're going to go in the second stitch. And you're just going to do your single crochets. Go in. Now, when you go in here, you're going to see that you're going and you have 2 loops instead of just the one. Okay, I'm going to pull it through. I have 2 loops on my crochet hook, and I'm going to grab the yarn and pull it through. Go in, going under 2, grab my yarn and pull it through. Have 2 loops, grab the yarn and pull it through both. Go into the next one. There's 2. Pull the yarn through. I have two loops. Grab your yarn and pull it through both. Okay, you do that all the way to the end. This would make a really pretty scarf. The stitches are pretty close. There's not a lot of openings, so it would be nice and warm. And homemade gifts are always the best. And I love to make Christmas presents all year round, so I've already started making my presents. Okay, so here you can see that I have 1 stitch left. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to crochet. Okay. Isn't that pretty? So I am going to chain 2. 1, 2, and then I'm going to turn. I always like to crochet my chains before I turn. Oops, I need some more yarn here. Okay. So here we are. I'm not going to go in this first one. I'm going to go in the second one. I'm going to pull it through. Sorry. I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to go through 2. So I'm going to go in the next stitch, pull it through. I have 2 loops, pull it through 2 loops. And we're just going to do that all the way to the other side. And as you get further and it gets bigger, I think it's a lot easier to crochet because you have something to hold on to here instead of just a little strand. Go in, pull it through, you have 2 loops, pull it through 2 loops. Again, when I go in here like this, I have these 2 loops. Okay, I'm going to grab it, pull it through, and then pull it through. I do that all the way to the other side. Take your time when you're learning. And I think my stitches stay pretty consistent. So now when I get to the end, you go into the top stitch. Okay, and that's my end. So when I go back this way and I get to this last one, I'm going to go into that last stitch. Okay, it's It's really important that you do that. So I'm going to chain 2. And if you noticed, I turned and changed chain 2. So it's up to you if you want to chain 2 before or after you turn. I'm going to skip that first stitch, and I'm going to go in, pull it through, 2 loops, grab it and pull it through. So now you have the idea of how to do a chain and a single crochet. This is pretty basic stuff, and you are on your way to crocheting. You are doing it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really enjoyed doing it for you. I hope that you'll like and subscribe and come back and see what kind of tutorial I will be doing next. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day, stay safe, and wear a mask if you can. Thank you. Bye.